I'm currently on a cruise and I'm staying in a cabin that has a layout that I didn't know existed on board cruise ships. Many people would say that this room has one of the worst locations on the ship, and we've had a couple of problems with the cabin that I never expected, caused in fact by the part that we're on an all-inclusive weekend cruise. Normally when you look at balcony cabins on cruise ships, they all look pretty similar. They might have a sofa in a different position, or the balcony might be a different size, but it's normally just a bathroom, a bed and a desk area. Our cabin wasn't like that. When I booked this cruise, I decided to book what is called an aft balcony cabin, which means that it faced behind the cruise ship. I've never had one of these cabins before, and although I'd read reviews about this type being noisy and shaking when the ship docked, I really didn't think much of it. I've never really had a problem with noise on a cruise before, and I was excited to see the views from the back of the ship. I took this cruise with a friend whose last cruise was way back in 2008, so I hope that my choice of cabin wouldn't cause us any issues. I really wanted this cruise to be good, not just for me, but for my friend too. I booked cabin 8236 right in the middle of deck 8. This was the only aft cabin available at the time, and I paid £59 to be able to pick this specific room. I usually let the cruise line pick for me and I save the cash, but I really wanted to try this specific cabin, and the reviews had got me interested. The mistake I made here was that I didn't look above or below my cabin to see what was around it. If I did, I probably would have chosen another one. Looking at the key, I could see that our cabin would hold 4 and that there was a fixed double bed. Please let me know if you see it in this diagram, but I can't see anywhere here that explains what a diamond means, so I guess we'll just have to make up something for that. Perhaps the diamond represented the chocolate that was left on my pillow every single night. The fixed double bed thing did seem a bit strange, but I assumed that there would be a sofa bed or a bed that came down from the ceiling, since it said that this cabin slept 4. You would never go on a cruise and expect 4 people in a cabin to share a fixed double bed. That would be terrible. My first glimpse of the ship and where my cabin would be came at around 8 PM as we boarded the ship in Palma. As soon as we got on board, we headed straight to our cabin to drop off our bags, and we wanted to explore. It was very easy to find our cabin because it was right at the back of the ship and right in the middle, so it didn't even matter which side we went down. My mum says that I could get lost in a paper bag, so having a easy to remember location is much appreciated. I'm normally not very good at remembering my room number either, but the end part of the room number, 236, was written on our cruise card, so I just had to remember deck 8, and even I can do that. Walking into the cabin, I was surprised by the layout, but very impressed with the amount of space. On the right hand side here as we came in was the bathroom, and then there was one bed that was fixed against the wall. It didn't take us very long to realise that my friend didn't have a bed yet, but we figured we would be able to find our cabin steward or go to reception to ask to have the second bed made up. It was nearly 9 PM at this point, but we weren't going straight to bed, we were too excited to be on board. The design of the cabin did look dated, but that is to be expected. The ship is called the Marella Explorer 2, and she started life as the Celebrity Century for celebrity cruises way back in 1995. That makes her pretty old for a cruise ship. For context, this is what the cabins looked like originally. When the ship was built, she only had a couple of rows of balcony cabins, and they added on these entire rows later. I didn't know they could do that. Heading out onto the balcony was very exciting. We had a table, which is always a bonus, and it was when I looked down that I noticed this area of deck sticking out below us. This is actually a smoking area, and it's located outside one of the most popular bars on board. I didn't know at this point just how much this would affect our cruise, but I knew that we were on board for 4 days, and that short cruises tend to be more party cruises. As Marella include alcoholic drinks by standard, I was expecting to hear noise here at night, but I wasn't really prepared for the reality of that. I've had cabins above nightclubs before, but never anything quite as loud as this cabin. We quickly had a look around the bathroom, which looked good. There was a shower door and a raised part so that the water didn't go all over the floor. They do provide shower gel, but there is no shampoo or conditioner or anything like that that you might find on another cruise line. I did find that a bit odd given that cocktails and beer and spirits were included, but it's just different priorities, I guess. Our cabin had lots and lots of storage, more than we would ever need for 4 nights. I unpacked onto just a couple of shelves, and I did hang up a few dresses. I put my suitcase under the bed, and that was it. I was done. I did of course bring a pack-a-mac because although we were cruising in Spain, we were still travelling in April. We saw plenty of rain on this trip, so I'm so glad that I did. Your Britishism of the week is a pack-a-mac, a rain mac, a waterproof lightweight jacket that folds down into a little bag. If you're like me and you're from the UK, a pack-a-mac is an important thing to have. While I unpacked, my friend was connecting to the Morella app on her phone, and in there we found a section where we could report a problem with our cabin. This seemed much easier than going to the reception desk or phoning housekeeping, so we decided to log in there that we would like the other bed made up. We headed off to get dinner in the buffet, and within half an hour the problem had been marked as resolved. It felt suspiciously fast, and I wondered if they had just closed the ticket to get rid of it. But when we went back to the cabin later in the evening, the bed was made. That was all very easy, and that was a good sign. What wasn't great though was how hot our cabin was. It was like walking into a wall of heat that smacked us in the face every time we walked into the room. It isn't unusual for cabins, particularly on old cruise ships, to have air conditioning problems, so we decided to leave it for the night and to go to the reception desk in the morning to ask to get it fixed. Neither of us slept very well this first night, to be honest, and I was hoping that things would improve. The music from below was very loud until gone midnight, and the room was so stuffy and hot. It felt like the kind of room where you would go to do hot yoga or something like that, but we just did hot sleeping. We couldn't open the door either to get any fresh air because it was the smoking area just below us, and of course people were out there having a good time, not being particularly quiet, and they shouldn't have had to be quiet. This was a 4-day cruise. The point of this was to have a good time. I thought that if we could get the air conditioning fixed, we would be more than happy to deal with the noise. When we woke up in the morning, we were still sailing. We were due to get into our first port of Alicante around midday. The sky was blue, and being able to head out onto the balcony in the morning was amazing. The views really are fabulous from aft cabins. Look at this. We headed to the reception desk to mention that our air conditioning wasn't working, and within an hour, a lovely man showed up to fix it. It took him a maximum of 5 minutes to sort out the problem, so it's always worth letting the crew know if something is wrong. Being in the industry that I'm in, I do get a lot of comments and messages that have complaints, and when I ask people about them, often they say that they never tried to get it fixed, which is just beyond me. You can't complain about something if you didn't even tell anyone that it was broken. The crew will fix it for you if they can. It's not like you have to climb up there with your screwdriver and try and work out what to do. You've just got to let them know. I don't know what magic the man did to the air conditioning, but whatever he did, it was brilliant, and we lived happily ever after in this cabin. Well, not exactly, but we did live at a happy temperature forever in this cabin. It was around now that we really started to appreciate the benefits of this layout as friends. If you were cruising with your partner, it would be annoying that they have to climb over you every time they want to go to the bathroom, but for me and my friend, it almost felt like we had our own bedrooms. She had her stuff in this half, and I had my stuff in this half. Like any good British cruise ship, there was a kettle, and there were bottles of water that were filled up for us all the time free of charge. There are water machines on every single deck too, so it was very easy to stay hydrated. This door in the middle doesn't slide anymore. It looks like it used to, but it looks like they've stuck it open. But even still, we had enough space and storage, and we never got in each other's way. I've been on cruise ships in the past where even if you do have twin beds, they're about 1 inch apart, and sometimes you wake up with someone's face looking at you. So this was much better than that. During the day, our cabin was peaceful and quiet. We were hoping that they might not have music below us every single evening, but they did. Normally we would be out enjoying the entertainment anyway, but it was a bit weird to be able to hear everything. We could hear the bass line, of course, but also we could hear each word of karaoke. I could tell if someone was good or bad at karaoke from my room, and most nights it went on until 1 or 2 a.m. I can sleep through almost anything, so it wasn't a problem for me, but for people who can't really sleep unless it's quiet, I would recommend getting a cabin that is sandwiched by other cabins. You might still hear noises, of course, but it's unlikely that you'll be hearing Uptown Funk or Gangnam Style at 1 or 2 a.m. like we were. One of the biggest criticisms of aft cabins is that they vibrate and they shake when the ship sails away or docks, and we did find that. Sometimes I'd wake up, realise that we were docking, and I'd go back to sleep for a few hours, which was good. One day we didn't sail away until late, and when we did, the ship started vibrating and juddering a lot. That was actually good because it woke me up and reminded me to put my phone onto aeroplane mode so I didn't get charged a lot for using the maritime network. I also leaned over and I put my friend's phone on aeroplane mode for her too, because I know what it's like to wake up with a big bill in the morning. Not nice. The beds were very comfortable, and mine even had this little shelf up here, which was very helpful. I'd normally put a bottle of water up there, and luckily for me, the ship never vibrated so much that it fell off and landed on me. That would have been terrifying, but it was all good. The lamp here does have a USB in it, and there are 2 plug sockets over on the desk. Because the only plug sockets were on the desk, this did make our phone chargers a bit of a trip hazard, and I did fall over more than once, but that was on us. The beds also have light switches by them, so you don't have to get up to turn off the lights, which was good. Every night we would find a bedtime chocolate on our pillows along with the next day's schedule. On Morella, they actually clean the rooms twice a day, once in the morning and once again at night to put the room into bedtime mode. We did get a couple of towel animals, which was nice, and the crew was so friendly and so lovely. One day when we were walking down the corridor, my friend said to me, "Emma, everybody on here is so nice, you have got to tell the people on the internet." And here I am passing along that message. I paid around £200 per night to stay in this cabin, not just for this cabin, but also for all of my food, my drinks, my flights, and my transfers. It wasn't a budget cruise by any stretch, but considering all that was included, I don't think that's a terrible price. For that price, it might have been nice to have shampoo included, but hey, it was worth it just to see the blue skies again. The ship definitely felt her age, but we didn't have any big problems apart from the noise and the vibrations. I have had problems in the past caused by a ship's age, and a little while ago I took a cruise on an old ship which was actually cancelled while I was at dinner. We all had to finish our dinner, repack, and then leave the ship. We disembarked on the same day that we embarked. To find out what that was like, check out this video next.